Seth Denson here to break it down. Seth, we know that the Trump administration have not exactly been fans of the Obamacare bill. Does that have a lot to do with these numbers being down, or is it because as unemployment has dropped, more folks are getting their health care through their employers?
There are a number of things I think that are impacting this. No doubt those that support the president, those that are opposed to the Affordable Care Act in general, are likely not enrolling. But in large part, that's because there's more options now. The president has come out in support of and expanded access to things like short-term health plans and association health plans. But as you alluded to, the economy's up. When the economy's up, people have jobs, and many Americans get their health care through their employer. In addition to that, about 81% of those that do access the individual marketplace under the ACA are doing so through a federal subsidy. When the market's up and joblessness is down, people make more money, and now those people may not qualify for a subsidy any longer.
Now, Seth, what about the confusion that, some of this is ultimately going to sow in the industry, in the healthcare industry, in the market for consumers? What are your predictions about the impact this has? The Trump administration's trying to minimize things by saying, open enrollment's not changing, we're sticking to the timetable, but you can't try and tell me anyhow that people are not going to be confused.
No question there's confusion. There was confusion throughout the year when we really didn't understand what Congress was going to do, what funding was going to be there. Confusion has been at the center of this entire story for the past 12 months. That said, the benefit of this announcement from the judge in Texas today is that it's coming out on the last day of open enrollment. So many people have already enrolled. A number of those policies that are out there auto-enroll. So once those people just don't do anything, they're going to be automatically enrolled in whatever they had last year, assuming that plan was still in place. And so as we progress and as we move forward, it will be imperatively important for Health and Human Services and the White House to be very clear on message as to how this is going to impact not just Americans accessing the federal marketplace, but those that are getting access to health care without pre-existing conditions as well.
You've got the president out there tweeting that Obamacare is unconstitutional. I knew it all along. So many Republicans are sort of dancing on this judge's decision. Yet, as Jillian points out, the administration is saying, no, everything's continuing as normal. We have the message up on the website that we showed you earlier. Don't worry, this doesn't affect open enrollment. Is that tacit approval, at least, or acknowledgement of the fact that if you blow up ACA, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, without a replacement, you're going to have 17 million people affected, in this bill that is more popular than the president suddenly goes down? Admission by the Republicans that right now, at least, they don't have a solution for it?
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie I've seen the ending to before, right? I mean, we've now had multiple rulings over time that ultimately end up in the Supreme Court. And so I think the White House recognizes this from a political perspective and an optics perspective. Let's not quickly throw out 17 million Americans directly and those indirectly that are impacted by the elimination of pre-existing conditions. We need to stay on message and make sure that we reassure the American public that their health care is going to remain stable, at least for now.
I mean, and this has been up the chain to the Supreme Court. This would be the third time. It's before this, the nation's highest court. So, I mean, it stands to reason that lots of Americans, some of the 17 million you point out, are going to feel like this issue has been legislated, this issue has been weighed on through the court system. Why is this still going on?
Well, listen, those that opposed this law and have from the beginning are adamantly, continuously trying to dismantle it in any way possible. Congress failed to do it, and so we're going to continue to press. The challenge that we have here, though, is that the makeup of the Supreme Court, while we do have 2 new justices, the swing vote on this was actually Judge Roberts. And the key thing that hasn't been discussed by legal minds today is that while the penalty was reduced to 0, the penalty and the mandate is actually still very much law of the land. So constitutionally, I don't believe that this changes anything.
And as you point out, it is a different court. John Roberts, the Chief Justice, being the swing vote. Although you have to wonder in chambers if Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh would bring at least some different arguments to the discussion when it gets there. Seth, appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.